And yet, when the White House asked them to censor this disinformation dozen, including me, they did it anyway when they knew it to be untrue.
What is going on, guys? Hey, I wanted to come back to you. I wanted to bring you a video on RFK Jr. And the other day, man, he was involved with a governmental hearing about censorship. And it's funny, during that meeting, they attempted to censor RFK Jr. But I'm going to bring that to you first. Then I'm going to bring you what the folks at the Roland Martin Show had to say about this, because these folks, man, they definitely missed the boat they have. It's all about the emotional appeal. But hey, guys, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thanks.
I know that we talked earlier about a post that Mr. Kennedy had at the beginning of the Biden administration. I just want the record to reflect that that post has not been taken down. So I'm wondering about the extent of censorship when the post is still there. But more importantly, again, I go back to just the fact that we are creating a platform for this kind of discussion, not about the censorship, not about free speech, but the content of some of that speech that we are amplifying in this room. I'm appalled and just so troubled by colleagues that I have to work with, that these are individuals who would bring a witness who's promoted a video that compared the COVID vaccine to the Tuskegee trials. The Tuskegee trials were a very difficult time in Black America, where individuals who were already sick with a disease were then reviewed, experimented on, who already had a disease to see how far that disease went. And making the comparison that manipulates and preys on Black people's feelings about the atrocities of the past in order to prevent them from seeking life-saving vaccines in the present. And knowing that this is dangerous, I cannot also be unaware that this comes from an individual who, by Mr. Roy's introduction, is very smart.
This is just so dishonest. It really is, man, because again, he did not tell anyone not to get vaccines. That's not what he's about. He does his research on the COVID stuff and on the vaccines with the COVID. And again, he writes about what he thinks, writes about his knowledge of that. And he has concerns with that. And he mentions that in his book and other things as well. But he has never told anyone not to get a vaccine. As a matter of fact, he's gotten all of his vaccines except for COVID. His kids got all their vaccines when they were younger. So again, that's not what he's saying. And he's never told anyone not to get vaccines. But if he's so smart, like you say he is, why don't you actually listen to what he's saying?
And myself, a mother of 5 Black children, that I should really be careful and not necessarily have the same safeguards to protect my family, my children, from a virus that has killed millions of people because I'm Black. There's no secret that this is an amplification of his own platform. You know, I'm not going to talk about the money that's received from the Children's Health Defense, from his anti-vaccine organization that's responsible for a majority of the false information out there about COVID, and the notoriety that's gained from it by manipulating Black and other vulnerable communities to propagate these pseudosciences.
Just respond briefly to some of the, what I would call defamations that have been just applied to me by the ranking member. I'm happy to talk to you about my opinions on these issues, what you have stated and tried to associate me with. I have never advised Black Americans not to receive vaccines. At one point you say I'm anti-vax, and that's a bad thing. The other moment you point out that all my children are vax. I'm fully compliant with the vaccine schedule myself, except for COVID. I took flu vaccines for 20 years and my views are constantly misrepresented so that the truth of what I believe is not, we're not allowed to have a conversation about that with the American people, which I believe vaccines should be tested with the same rigor as other medicines and medications. You tried to associate me a moment ago with the replacement theory, which is racist.
No, I did not say you.
Time belongs to the gentleman.
I said my colleagues.
Time belongs to the gentleman from.
I denounce that theory. It is racist, and I have never endorsed it or had any association with it. Our film on a medical, by the
medical
way, Bill Buxton, who is the black CDC official who ultimately exposed the Tuskegee experiment, tried for years and years to appeal to CDC to stop it for 40 years. Finally, he got relief by walking into my uncle's office in the building next door. Teddy held hearings and ended the experiment. I created a film that encourages blacks not to get adequate medical care. Is just completely abhorrent.
Don't misuse my words.
It's the witness's time. Do not censor the witness.
I'm not censoring the witness. I'm not censoring the witness. He's still talking.
It's my time, and I've given it to the witness. Do not censor him.
I'm not censoring him.
If the views that you
know what, guys, man, it's funny. She is trying to censor him right now. Again, it's a hearing about censorship and everything else, and she is trying to actively censor him. Now, again, she's going to deny it, which is what she's doing. But, I mean, she's speaking over him every damn chance she gets with this. Again, don't mischaracterize my words, is what she just said. Again, he's not mischaracterizing your words. That is what you said.
You have been trying to help us understand how weaponized ignorance and misinformation works. What do you make of, I think the young people call it platforming, something like that? And what did we just see, and how dangerous is it, not dangerous? What's your take on what we just saw, Reese?
Well, first of all, he's full of shit. And the first thing people want to do when they get caught red-handed is be like, you're lying. I don't know where you got that from. No, she didn't just pull it out of her asshole. She had the receipts, and all you had was bullshit that you could barely get out. So I don't think so. The fact of the matter is that he, along with others, have targeted the Black community with laser-like precision with disinformation. And the reason why it's called disinformation is because it is intentionally either recontextualizing in a way that is misleading.
This is the kind of bullshit that you listen to. You deserve to be dumb as a box of rocks. You really do. Because again, man, the bullshit, man, again, he talking about, whatever bullshit coming out of his mouth, and he don't know what he's talking about, man. He's going after you with laser light precision and whatever, man. And yeah. This is the kind of bullshit that you listen to. You deserve to be in the dark. You really do. Because again, number one, what he did as far as making a film about targeting Black people, no, he's not. He's not trying to tell anyone not to get vaccines. Not one bit. But again, they got to make something. They've got to make something up. They got to make something, again, appear to be a certain way when it's not.
And what I've said that's really important to understand about disinformation in the past is it's not that it is 100% patently false. What it is that you take something that might have a slither of truth to it, and then you put it in a completely different context, or you put other things around it that make it have a different meaning than if you actually kept it in its entirety in its original context. For instance, when you see a clip that's 15 seconds that looks bad, for instance, well, the 15 seconds before and the 50 seconds after it might completely change the message of that clip. But if all you're running with is this particularly selectively edited thing and somebody selectively edited it to manipulate you, that's disinformation. And
so again, you're talking about doing what the left does all the time, which is take 10, 15 seconds of some video and using it for their purpose. That is something the left does all the damn time. And again, man, this woman from the Virgin Islands, man, again, talking about this stuff, she is totally mischaracterizing what he has done and what he is doing. But again, they're not going to talk about that. They're not going to address that because again, they're trying to push a narrative right here.
Idea that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is some altruistic actor who's out there trying to save the blacks from vaccines that are harming us when, like she said, your kids is vaxxed, you want people at your party to be vaxxed, and so you're talking out of one ear, talking out of the side of your mouth, and you're doing something on the other side. And so don't fall for the okie doke. I know that the COVID wars and the vaccine wars was popular. Some people still ain't vaxxed. That's fine. We're over it. Good luck. If you made it this far, I'm sure you're going to be all right. We're not arguing with that shit no more. But at the time, this was a situation where Black people were disproportionately killed from COVID, who were disproportionately sicker from COVID, particularly when it came to Black mothers dying at a disproportionate rate, already bigger than the Black maternal mortality rate. And we were being targeted with this disinformation. The medical apartheid, you've had Black doctors who came out and said that they gave an interview under completely different circumstances, and their words were chopped and screwed to give a different opinion or different view. And so he cannot be trusted. And if you don't take away nothing else I said, this is a person who's trying to run for president of the United States, right? He's not going to get the nomination, but that's fine. Mm-hmm. If the Republicans thought that this person was credible in any kind of way, if the Republicans thought, hey, if this guy got the nomination, he would be good for our country, he would be in opposition to our platform, the Republican Party would not, Jim Jordan's funky ass would not be inviting RFK Jr., giving him the platform of a congressional hearing. They would not, under any circumstances, be doing that if they felt that he was at all a threat to the Republican orthodoxy, to their white nationalism, and to their threat to the Black community and Black humanity. So if you don't take nothing else, you don't have to trust anything that I have to say about the situation, about COVID or the vaccines or whatever. But do you trust the Republicans? Do you think that the Republicans are platforming a person that is in your best interest as opposed to in their best interest?
You know, guys, man, we got to be honest with what she is doing here. We got to be honest. She is basing this on emotional appeal. She is telling you that RFK Jr. and Republicans are friends. So again, he must be a white supremacist. Yeah. And again, man, saying the Republicans are white supremacists, that's stupid as hell to begin with. But again, man, that's all the logic they have to give you. And again, that's not even logic, that's false. But again, that's all they have to tell people. And they believe them. They're like, oh yeah. And that's what they do. That's what this network does. That's what the Young Turks do. Dr. Rashad Richey, same thing. They're appealing to certain people. They're appealing to a certain demographic. And they're appealing based upon emotion. You know, fear, anger. And again, they're mostly going after the Black population. They're trying to get you to believe what they're saying. They're trying to get you worked up, to get you fearful, to get you angry, to get you, stirred up. So again, they can easily, slide it down your throat. That's really what they're doing. Take whatever we tell you to take. You're gonna buy it. You're gonna buy into this. You're gonna swallow it, no matter what. Why? Because they lube it up, they grease it up. And the thing is, man, again, what they're doing is everything is based upon emotions. I guarantee you, well, I can't guarantee, but I think it's highly unlikely that she knows anything really about RFK Jr. I really don't think she does. Because if she did, number one, she wouldn't be saying this, number one. But again, man, if somebody sat down and actually read his stuff, they would know that everything she said is not true. Not true. Again, they would understand what he's about. And again, man, people that disagree with me right now, don't take my word for it. Again, read his book. Read some of the stuff that he's written. Actually go through, educate yourself. And again, you'll find out, wait a minute, no, he's not. As a matter of fact, not only is he not trying to hurt any group, he's trying to help people. And again, not just white people or black people or anyone, man. Again, all people. He's trying to inform people to look into things a little bit more, to question things. And again, that's why some Republicans like him, is because he questions things, because he doesn't buy into whatever is being told, whatever is being said. And again, man, if you think that what he said is wrong and what he said has been defaming of certain people, ask yourself, why has nothing ever come of it? Why doesn't anyone actually debate him? Why hasn't anyone sued him? Again, we have to look into that. We have to look into that a little bit more. But again, don't take my word for it. Read some of his stuff. But again, people like that, people like her, they're going to appeal to you based upon emotion. That's all. But hey guys, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thanks.
You son of a